The American Civil War was a war fought in the United States from 1861 to 1865 between the North, Union, and the South, Confederacy. The most studied and written about episode in U.S. history, the Civil War began primarily as a result of the long-standing controversy over the enslavement of African American people.
Foxtrot 1 is Foxtrot, over. Foxtrot 1, over. This is Foxtrot. Request you take station on my starboard quarter. About the same range you're at right now, however, I want you out in the...
World War II was a global war that lasted from 1939 to 1945. The vast majority of the world's countries, including all the great powers, eventually formed two opposing military alliances, the Allies and the Axis. A state of total war emerged, directly involving more than 100 million people from over 30 countries. The major participants threw their entire economic, industrial, and scientific capabilities behind the war effort, blurring the distinction between civilian and military resources. World War II was the deadliest conflict in human history, marked by 50 to 85 million fatalities, most of whom were civilians, in the Soviet Union and China. In 1944, the Western Allies invaded German-occupied France, while the Soviet Union regained its territorial losses and turned toward Germany and its allies. During 1944 and 1945, the Japanese suffered major reverses in mainland Asia and central China, South China and Burma, while the Allies crippled the Japanese Navy and captured key Western Pacific islands. The Vietnam War was an undeclared war in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia from the 1st of November, 1955 to the fall of Saigon on the 30th of April, 1975. It was the second of the Indochina Wars and was officially fought between North Vietnam and South Vietnam. North Vietnam was supported by the Soviet Union, China, and other communist allies. South Vietnam was supported by the United States, South Korea, the Philippines, Australia, Thailand, and other anti-communist allies. The war is considered a Cold War-era proxy war from some U.S. perspectives. It lasted some 19 years with direct U.S. involvement ending Indiana 1973 following the Paris Peace Accords, and included the Laotian Civil War and the Cambodian Civil War, resulting in all three countries becoming communist states in 1975. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech on August 28, 1963. One of its most powerful lines reads, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." Martin Luther King Jr., born January 15, 1929, was an American Baptist minister and activist who became the most visible spokesperson and leader in the civil rights movement from 1955 until his assassination in 1968. Born in Atlanta, King is best known for advancing civil rights through nonviolence and civil disobedience tactics. His Christian beliefs and the nonviolent activism of Mahatma Gandhi helped inspire. King led the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott and in 1957 became the first president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. With the SCLC, he led an unsuccessful 1962 struggle against segregation in Albany, Georgia, and helped organize the nonviolent 1963 protests in Birmingham, Alabama. He helped organize the 1963 March on Washington, where he delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today, said Martin Luther King Jr.
The Iraq War began on March 19, 2003, when the U.S., joined by the UK and several coalition allies, launched a shock and awe bombing campaign. Iraqi forces were quickly overwhelmed as U.S. forces swept through the country, as well as a lengthy insurgency against U.S. and coalition forces. Many violent insurgent groups were supported by Iran and Al-Qaeda in Iraq. The United States responded with a troop surge in 2007, a buildup of 170,000 troops. The surge in troops gave greater security to Iraq's government and military, and was largely a success. The winding down of U.S. involvement in Iraq accelerated under President Barack Obama. The U.S. formally withdrew all combat troops from Iraq by December 2011.